What's going on YouTube? Yamaha, welcome to the channel. And in this episode, guys, I'm gonna go over what to expect when owning a Yamaha R1. The things I love, the things I don't, things you might not know, and maybe some tips before you purchase your own. If any of this interests you guys, stick around, stay tuned, and enjoy.
If any of this content interests you, do me a huge favor. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you want, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to be notified of all new uploads.
So guys, here's the story. I picked up this 2018 R1. I call her Nebula. She is beautiful. I love her to death. And I picked her up probably in the late of 2018, almost 2019. And I got a heck of a deal on this bike. Now, originally, if you follow the channel, I didn't go to buy an R1. I actually went to go pick up an MT-09. It was the second gen. I believe it was a brand new 2019 on the showroom floor. It had blue on it, which I was really excited about. And as soon as I was on my way to the dealership, my buddy was like, hey man, they got an R1 on clearance, which I don't even know if that's a fact, but I know for sure it was like $13,999 was the sticker price. And I was like, dang, an R1 for that price? I mean, that was, you know, definitely a lot more than a MT-09, but it was kind of like in my price range, to be honest with you, because I was looking at buying a, hey, check out the scooter. Anyway, guys, I was thinking about buying a bike cash because I didn't want any payments, and this was in my price range, so I thought, you know, what the heck, let me go ahead and check it out. And obviously, guys, when you see this R1 in person, brand new, there is no way that you cannot fall in love with it. So I picked it up and started riding it right away. And I think the first year I owned it, I probably put like 8,000 miles on it. I was riding it a lot. This was kind of just before COVID, and then when COVID hit, man, we were riding all the time. So it was a great experience, and I really loved the bike. But as I started to mature, especially in my age, guys, I'm not a spring chicken, you know, I'm 43 years old, guys, and I started to realize that this bike was definitely a lot of power for me. So I guess my video is about what to expect when buying or purchasing an R1. Guys, what you're gonna expect is the main thing. This thing is fast as hell. I mean, there's no ifs or buts about it. This bike is a speed demon. Now, it's probably not the fastest of the leader bikes, because I'm sure that the BMW and the ZX-10 for sure are a lot faster than this bike, at least horsepower wise. But guys, this bike, if you dare to go that fast, can easily hit 180 and more. And guys, it is a lot of bike, and it's so much bike that honestly, I don't even use it that much. There's really nothing about it that I do not like personally. I mean, I love the way the bike looks. I love the handling of the bike. I love everything about it, the upgrades and the performance and all that stuff. The suspension is adjustable, and guys, overall, this bike has been an amazing motorcycle to own. The only thing that really gets me a lot of times, and is basically what my main complaint is always about the Yamaha R1, at least for me, it is just a lot of bike for what I do. As you guys can see, I'm taking my roads that I normally vlog on, and the speed limit through here is 40, and I'm doing 40 now, and I'm doing 40 on a leader bike. I'm in second gear. I could actually be in first gear, and guys, honestly, it gets kind of boring. So what to expect when owning a Yamaha R1, or any leader bike for that case, is that number one, the bike is super fast. I mean, this bike is really, really fast, guys, and there's really no way that you could ride it without speeding. Because right now, when you do the speed limit on this bike, it's really boring. I mean, I could do this on my Benelli. I could do this definitely on the MT-09 and at least shift gears here and there and actually just have a little bit of fun of just with the torque on the low end. But guys, as you know, this bike really gets its power over 7,000 RPM. So it's like, unless you're constantly trying to be a speed demon or run around these, you know, local streets and just, you know, risk your life and break the speed limit all the time, it gets kind of boring. So that's pretty much my main gripe about this bike, is that it's a lot of bike and you really can't enjoy it in the city limits. Now, you can if you were one of those guys that likes to break the law all the time, but Yamaha is not that guy. I'm gonna go a little bit over the speed limit. I'm gonna pop it here and there, kind of give it some revs, you know, kind of hit some daily 100s like Modonosity kind of preaches, but that's about it. Other than that, I'm basically just cruising. Even on the highway, guys, I'm cruising like 85 miles per hour just so that way I don't get pulled over. So that's the first thing to expect, is not being able to really get down on this bike safely in city limits. Another thing you could expect is that, honestly, guys, it's not really good on gas. I mean, seriously, if you're just riding this bike around town, kind of like commuting, the gas consumption on this thing is not the greatest. And I got it flashed with Chris Moore Mafia earlier this year, and since then, it's been even worse. No offense to Chris Mafia, he did what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to unrestrict everything and make this bike a speed demon, which he has done that. He has unlocked the bike to its full potential. But now that I'm just kind of cruising around, you know, you get the excitement of the flash when you first get it. You're out there just killing it just to see the difference and to see how it performs. And guys, honestly, I felt a huge difference, and the numbers speak for themselves. But once that kind of like excitement kind of wears off, you go back into like normal riding mode, and then you find out that, damn, this bike sucks up a lot of gas. So I basically live in DeBerry. That's about, I don't know, 22 miles from downtown Orlando. So, you know, that's about a 44-mile round trip, and it's definitely at least a gallon of gas. And not that that's horrible, but man, you know, it's just one of these bikes that you really don't want to worry about the gas. But at the same time, if you were to go with your buddies and really hit it and go out and explore, you're definitely going to have to be pretty conscious about a gas station nearby, because at any time that gas light is going to come on and you got about 20 miles, give or take, to get to a gas station and fill up. So that's another thing to expect. Gas consumption is not the greatest. Another thing you could expect while owning an R1, honestly, guys, is that after a couple of hours, this bike is not comfortable at all. Even though it's more comfortable than the R6, which I've ridden a few times, that is more like a fighter pilot, you know, kind of tucked in stance. You know, your arms are really super tight, your legs are super high. The R1 is a lot more comfortable than the R6, but even with that being said, guys, this bike in a long ride, I'm talking like a couple of hours, it is horrible, especially if you're on the highway where you cannot really like stretch your legs and kind of stop at a light, you know, and adjust your body and just kind of, you know, get a little comfortable. This bike after a while does hurt. Now, I do have the Saddleman seat on here. It is a lot more comfortable than the stock seat, guys, which I love to death. And it does have the center cutout. I call it the nut saver, because it relieves a lot of pressures from your chode and your kind of lower extremities as you ride the motorcycle for a long time. It kind of lets things breathe and kind of lets things have some space, which is super important on these seats, man, because you don't want your stuff all jumbled up and bunched up. It's going to cut off circulation and probably cause some permanent damage down the road. So I love the fact that the seat has the cutaway. It's got like kind of like a gel type of pad on the top, so it makes it a lot more comfortable. But guys, I will tell you this, you could expect to be in some pain with your back and knees if you have issues with your physique after riding this bike for a long time. So that's another thing to expect, is just the body posture and the ergonomics of this bike, at least for me, guys, is not that comfortable. Now, one thing you can expect is when you do have the right roads to ride this bike, it's gonna be a hell of fun. That is one thing that I will never ever talk crap about this R1, because guys, when you have a nice open road where you can get on it, this is where that bike shines, because you have like all this speed and all this power at the flick of a wrist, where you just throw it down and I mean, guys, that's like half throttle right there. And I was at the bottom end of third gear. I mean, it was pretty much dragging, but if I was to drop a gear, this bike will disappear. And that is the main thing about owning an R1 that I love to death. And I think that's what a lot of people expect, is to have that fast speed power right at the flick of a wrist. Another thing you could expect, obviously, is that it's a reliable machine, man. I mean, I have, like I said, like 16,000 miles on this bike. All I've done to it is an oil change, and I did have to replace one battery. But that's pretty typical in Florida because of the weather. But besides the battery, guys, I've had zero issues with this bike. The filters are cheap, the oil's cheap, pretty much everything's cheap on this bike. You don't really have to spend a lot of money, you know, maintaining this bike. Unlike Ducatis and BMWs, you know, a lot of those things are like part specific, where you have to go to the dealer to buy those things. But man, I've used Canon filters, Motul oil, and guys, I've had zero issues with this bike. So that is a plus, is the reliability of these Yamaha parts. Not to mention, guys, the aftermarket support on parts and accessories for this bike is amazing, man. You got TST, you got Yoshimura, you have Pugue, you have all these wonderful brands that you can just go to any website, pick up parts for it, whether it's exhaust, seat, lights, you know, tidy tails, stickers, you know, windscreens. So many options, guys. This bike has it all, from rear sets to pegs to, you know, passenger delete kits. So that's another thing to expect, guys, is the aftermarket support on this bike are amazing. And honestly, guys, top tier level stuff. All right, guys, those are some of the things you could expect when owning a Yamaha R1. A lot of pros, a lot of cons, but honestly, guys, at the end of the day, it's what you want to ride. But guys, you let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you love the R1? Is it too much bike? Is it not enough bike? Do you think I'm exaggerating? Should I sell it? Should I keep it? I'll probably keep it, of course, but just let me know what you guys think in the comment section of the video. And guys, like always, man, be blessed, ride safe, take it easy on them filthy streets, and remember, you got to work on Monday. Peace.